And welcome back. We are in the spin room here in Atlanta getting ready for tonight's first presidential debate. And let's bring in our debate night political panel. Ashley Etienne and Matt Gorman. Ashley served as communications director for Vice President Kamala Harris, and Matt is a Republican strategist who served as senior advisor to Senator Tim Scott's presidential campaign. Good to see both of you there in Washington. Ashley, I want to start with you. In your view, what is the biggest, weakness or deficit that you think President Biden needs to address tonight to try to change things around?
Well, he's got an audience of one right now. It's that 1 to 2% that Anthony was talking about that's actually going to make the difference in this next election. That's his primary audience. So I'm going to be watching to see how he creates a permission structure for those folks to get to a yes. And when I say those folks, those are disaffected Republicans, Nikki Haley voters. How does he get them to a yes? So the campaign knows that he's got to focus on that. That's why the major themes coming out of tonight will be threats against American democracy. It'll be Trump extremism from his desire to be a dictator on day one to Project 2025, as well as his inability to lead. So those are going to be the main focuses of tonight. So I'm going to be watching to see, again, how he creates that permission structure for those people to get to a yes.
And Matt, for you, and we are watching former President Trump about to get off his plane there. Matt, for you, we've seen in our polling that most Republican voters want Donald Trump to be polite tonight, to kind of tone it down. If we know anything from covering him over the past 8 or so years, we know that that is totally up to Donald Trump. No matter what people want him to do, he does what he wants to do. What do you think tonight he will have to do?
I think there's been a lot of talk and in some way a little bit overblown about whether this person will be too calm, whether this one will be too hot. I think at the large part, what I think we'll be talking about at the end of this is whether or not Trump can steer the debate and his answers to the issues that he's actually winning on, right? That's the economy, immigration, and crime. If he can steer the debate towards those issues that he's winning on in most polls and most folks trust him to handle that, this will be a successful thing. And I think that is why you're seeing him get a lead or a toss, depending on which poll you see, because he's actually resonating on those issues.
Can I just add, if you don't mind? I'm glad you brought that up because, what I'm hearing from the campaign is that the president will not shy away from those issues because wherein they may not be in his favor in the polls, but in terms of actuality, the economy is the envy of the world, according to leading economists. Violent crime is at a record low right now, as well as immigration. Border crossings in the last month since he signed the executive order have been down 40%. So the campaign is really advising Biden to lean into these issues, not run away from them, as well as Democratic talkers that are on TV. There's no reason for us to be defensive on these issues because actually the facts are on our side.
I would welcome that debate. Trump would welcome that debate. He would.
Yeah, there's the debate that everyone wants to see, and then there's the debate that we are going to get just in a few hours here. Matt, I want to ask you, because we know, obviously, the Biden campaign has talked about the idea of democracy being front and center. We can expect Biden to go after Donald Trump on January 6th. How do you expect or want him to handle that?
I think you can pivot away from that a little bit and talk about how, look, Democrats are the ones trying to kick Trump off the ballot in some of these states, including Colorado. And what's interesting is I think whether or not that argument has been complicated by the fact that CBS and CNN and a couple other polls show Trump leading on the issue of democracy. Now, you can ascribe different reasons to that one way or another. But I also think, David Axelrod, Obama's kind of famed advisor, said, look, if you're sitting around talking about democracy around the kitchen table, the economy's doing pretty well for you, unlike it is for millions of Americans. So, look, I think that there's a stubbornness, according to Axelrod, says for Biden to push this over and over again. And look, the polls show that it's weird, and honestly, but voters trust Trump in a lot of respects, much counterintuitively to what Democrats say on the issue of democracy.
Can I just add in here?
All right, Ashley Etienne.
Thanks.
Oh.
I'm sorry, Ashley.
Okay.
We have
Next
to leave
time.
it there. We are tight on time, but we will talk to you both plenty over the course of these next few months. Ashley and Matt, thank you so much.
Thanks.
And let's bring in our Major Garrett. Major, good to see you. I know you and the CBS News Confirmed team are going to be fact-checking tonight's debate. What are you going to be looking out for, and how are you going to do it?
Things that can distinguish truth from fiction. Very simply, Caitlin. And you mentioned the CBS Confirmed team. This is a separate set of journalists hired for the very rigorous process of fact-checking, not just tonight around this presidential debate, but around everything that's going to animate this presidential campaign and other things. Forensic journalists, data journalists who can really drill down and separate fact from fiction and then, importantly, reveal that work. So when people encounter what the CBS Confirmed team puts out on social media or does on any of our broadcasts or here on CBS News 24/7, you will see not only what we concluded, but how we got to that conclusion about whether something is true or is something a deep fake, a cheap fake, or just a lie in the political context. All of that is going to be the work of the CBS Confirmed team, and you'll see some of it around tonight's debate.
All right, Major Garrett, that is a huge public service to our viewers, and we thank you for that.